think is going to be Tiger's fate with the Ryder Cup team? Is it going to be better for the Ryder Cup team to have Tiger Woods or not Tiger Woods? Go to ESPN.com to vote. Let's talk about it now. What does all this mean? What's going to happen with him? We'll bring in our panel. Bob Harrig covers golf for ESPN.com. Edward Wanambwa is the senior editor for African American Golfers Digest. And Bomani Jones is the host of The Morning Jones on Sirius Radio Channel 98. Gentlemen, thanks to all of you for joining us. Bob, you heard what Hank Haney had to say. In light of all that, he says it's not a really technical issue, it's getting his head together. What do you see?
I think you got to go along with what Hank's saying there. It's probably a lot of the stuff in his mind that isn't clear right now, the inability to focus on the task at hand. I mean, I think there's some evidence to suggest that Tiger hasn't been putting in the effort. He's not been working at his game as much as he needs to, either at home or on tour, whether that be after rounds or preparation, practice time, all the things that go into being a great player. It's not just those 18 holes they play every day.
Bomani, Tiger Woods said earlier today that in life you just have to keep moving forward. He appears to be going backwards. How does he turn it around?
I mean, I don't listen to old R&B records. I mean, I really have no idea. This is just, I think divorce is one of those things in sports that we don't talk about nearly enough, where it's the #1 stressor that people have in their adult lives. So you're playing a game where physically it requires you to be relaxed, and you're taking all this stuff out there with you. We're not just talking about a regular divorce. We're talking about the Tiger Woods divorce. At some point, you imagine it'll come back around. Maybe it does not, but I don't think anybody can really prescribe when it's going to happen because we're not living between his ears.
Edward, Tiger Woods sounded optimistic, but as Bomani just said, when you watch him now, do you still get that feeling people always had, that at any time he could break loose and have one of those runs?
Yes, I mean, it was shocking watching him this weekend at the Bridgestone Invitational. I mean, he looked like a recreational golfer. I mean, spraying the ball all over the place, but I had the feeling and the energy that Tiger was one shot away from being the Tiger of old again. I mean, as Amani alluded to earlier, it must be extremely difficult to leave all the off-course challenges behind him and come out there and play at the level that we're used to seeing him play. But I think he's right around the corner. He's one good round away from being back.
Bob, when he was talking earlier, Tiger said, what do? You just go out and play, and that he was not worried about being #1. He's got enough on his mind. But do you believe him when he says that he doesn't worry about keeping his #1 ranking?
I do, because he sort of usually had the mantra of that will take care of itself by winning. That's always sort of been his attitude, and he's obviously trying to win, doing all he can to do that, but I don't think he's going to fret over the details. When and if the time comes that he starts to perform the way we know that he can, the #1 ranking will take care of itself, and that's by being up there all the time like he's been for so long.
Bomani, there was a time when most people, if you did a word association with Tiger Woods, they'd think of dominance and intensity and excellence. When you hear Tiger association?
Well, I mean, it's better than the laughingstock that I would have given you about 4 months ago. I think now, I mean, he's still Tiger Woods. He still has a level of ubiquity that he had when he was being dominant, to where I don't have to say much else. The only thing now is it's ubiquitous but with no definition, because I have no idea what there is to say about him. Is he the best golfer in the world? Probably. Does he look like it? No. What is he going to be? I have no idea. But what Tiger Woods tried to associate himself with before is so far away from where we are now that I'll be honest, it's been hard for me to even recategorize him because it's so divergent from what we saw.
When you say what he tried to associate himself with, what are you talking about?
Well, he tried to make himself into the virtuous man that could make all of this money. And I think that that's another part that we have to remember when we talk about the weight that's on Tiger Woods' mind. The most disturbing thing I found when he came back was his insistence that he would become the guy that we were proud of, or that he told us he was before. Well, he's not that guy. I don't know if anybody's that guy, but I know for a fact that he is not that sort of guy. So he sold us all the things, not just being competitive and being dominant, but kind of all the normative things that come along with it that we think of, whether they're true or not. Now, we know that Tiger Woods is a human being, and we never thought of him as being human before now.
Edward, one of the reasons that fans have always followed him the way they have is because he didn't seem human. He seemed somehow superhuman. Does he have the fans with him now?
Yes, I think he does. I mean, Tiger, we put Tiger on the pedestal. I mean, based upon what he was able to accomplish, and the PR machine that was around Team Tiger, that, you know, we sort of elevated him to this status of being superhuman and supernatural. And that's what we want to see again. I mean, Tiger is human. Contrary to popular belief, Tiger Woods is a human being and who deals with the same issues that we deal with, except that it's being viewed by millions of people, and it's hard for him to leave that behind him when he goes out there on the course. I mean, Tiger was supernatural to us, but now we're starting to see that Eldrick Woods is a human being.
Bob, other golfers sometimes used to talk about Tiger the way fighters talked about Mike Tyson in the early days. Right now, what sort of mystique does he have with the rest of the tour?
Well, I think the mystique is gone, and actually I think it was fading anyway before all this came up. You know, Tiger has shown himself to be human on the golf course at times. At this very tournament a year ago, the PGA Championship, you know, for the first time ever, he failed to convert a 54-hole lead, and he lost to a relative unknown named Y.E. Yang from Korea. I mean, I think guys have come to realize that, you know, don't be in fear. He is human. He has his bad days. Do what you do. I mean, there's nothing you can do anyway as a golfer. You can't play defense. You might as well do your best and not worry about it. And I think that attitude has been around for a long time, and obviously even more so this year.
Bomani, we got about 20 seconds. Is Tiger Woods, one of those guys who needs that edge in his personal life to drive himself professionally?
Well, what I wonder is if we tried to bottle him up so much and stop him from being emotional, whether that becomes the biggest issue. The one thing I would say is these other guys say that they no longer see the mystique. They might not want to get so willy-nilly with the comfort. I mean, this has only been going on now for, what, 8 months? Give the man some time to grow, you know, to heal and go through this, and then we'll be able to find out later.
Right. Bob Harrig, Edward Wanambwa, Bomani Jones, gentlemen, thanks all of you for your time. If you want to see more on Tiger's saga, or if you want to vote in our poll, go to ESPN.com, and from the video tab on the front page, click on Outside the Lines. While you're there, you can also check out past OTL features, send us an email, sign up for our daily program alert. All results